Thank you so much for coming. I'm Jonathan Sage Martinson. I'm the Director of Planning and Economic Development for the City of St. Paul, and I'm so excited you're all here. We're so excited to kick off this initiative. As you probably know better than anyone else, technology and innovation companies are really important to the City of St. Paul. They're important today, and they're important, we think, especially important for the future of St. Paul. So we wanted you to help us think about this effort we're going to hear about in just a moment, and we wanted to get your input tonight on what we can do better as a community to help technology and innovation businesses grow. But before we do that, I want to thank the folks who helped us put on tonight. So thanks especially to Greater MSP and the Make It MSP initiative. I see Peter Frosch right there, and Matt is somewhere as well. Thanks to Greater MSP and Make It MSP. Thanks to the St. Paul Area Chamber of Commerce also. Thank you especially to Bad Weather Brewing and the Beer Dabbler, providing the beer samples and the bartenders. And finally, thank you to Coco for hosting us in this wonderful, cool space. In just a moment, not now because Don's about to talk, but later, when everyone's done talking, this entire floor is open, so feel free to wander unless it says do not enter, I suppose, then stay out. But we have the whole space. You can get a chance to see what Coco's up to here. So thanks for those organizations for hosting, and I'm going to turn over to Don to tell us a little bit more about Coco.
Thank you. All right, I have good news and better news. The good news is I'm only talking for 2 minutes. You keep me at that. The better news is that what we're here gathered today to talk about is not a thing that that is in neutral, that's at 0 and has to go to 60. It's already underway, and it's been underway for a while. And there's some local heroes here who have been doing this work. Scott Burns, I don't know where he's Scott. Jenna Pedersen, and other folks, from Greater MSP. Like, the work has been happening. But we've also been at it too, and that's why I want to just tell you a little bit about what Coco is, because you've come into a space that you've maybe never been in before, and you have to what is this crazy place and what are people doing here? We're not an event center. We're actually a place where people come and work on their dreams, whether it's startups, small businesses, personal practices, freelancers, that kind of thing, and actually entire divisions of companies. We have a whole bunch of people from 3M, about 60-some people from the .com group who are every day coming here and working on what their big stuff is. So that's kind of what we bring together here. And over the last 7 years, Coco has actually grown from 1 location to 5 in Minneapolis, St. Paul, and in Chicago, and about 1,100 members. And we've been recognized by Google, and we're actually one of 10 Google Tech Hubs in North America. And so that's just a little bit of an outside affirmation that what's happening here is interesting and worthy. But let me tell you that this is a little more important, I think. We finally got around to doing a decent survey of our membership, and we discovered that last year, Coco members in 2016 created 500 jobs, which is awesome. So that's 500 people. And you can be sure those are really interesting jobs, working for interesting people doing new things, and that's great because we just want more of that. And also that Coco members spent $9 million on professional services last year, which means they had to go outside, to other people, attorneys, accountants, SEO consultants, marketing firms, you name it, to build their businesses. And that's all really generative, and that's, again, what we're talking about today. But what you might not know is that actually Coco started right here. This is literally the room. This is the space. 7 years ago. In fact, I know the exact date. It was January 4th, 2010, and it's the exact same date that they began light rail construction out here, which gives somebody pause. You're thinking oh my gosh, what were we thinking? But we got through it, and the thing has grown, and it's a testament to how much innovation and activity there is here in the Twin Cities, and how many people really want to create something cool. But what I like is that, co-working in general has really grown. There was maybe 500 spaces when we started, or globally. There's now 11,000. And all indications, it's just booming. It's like the future of commercial real estate. So consider St. Paul an early adopter of a really major trend in the world right now. So all that to say is that what's awesome is we're here to talk about how to do more of this in St. Paul, but we're not starting from scratch. And I think that's really good. We just have to build on all the cool things that are happening around here. If you ever want to know what's happening, go watch, where's Nick? Would you have a URL for your website? Documentary.com. DocumentaryMN.com. Anyway, so like this has been documented how much stuff is going on. So anyways, all that to say, thank you for showing up. We really appreciate that you came into our living room to do this. And I'm just eager to hear what everybody has to say. So thank you. Oh, sorry, sir. One last thing. If you do want a tour, I was told to say this. If you would like a tour just to get a sense for what happens here and who's hanging out here, back kind of towards where you checked in, we're going to have staff hanging out here. So the minute we're done talking and the beers are flowing, you can hit up our staff and they will just show you around. So thank you. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Don. Thanks for hosting us. So we're here this evening to launch the St. Paul Innovation Cabinet. This is an effort that Mayor Coleman and Councilmember Tolbert have launched to help identify ways we as a community can help innovation and technology businesses grow here in St. Paul. They've collected a group of 16 folks to help them think through this. We're going to introduce those cabinet members in just a moment. But we collectively need your ideas to help us think through what we can do as a community. So to kick us off, I'm going to ask Mayor Chris Coleman to come up and say a few words.
Thanks, Jonathan. It's good to see you all here. A couple of introductions. I see Councilmember Rebecca Naker is here. Rebecca, our host council member, thank you for being here. I also want to introduce, for those of you that may not know Wei-Ming Liu, Wei-Ming was the head of the Lowertown Redevelopment Corporation, who many, many years ago had a vision for this part of our community that said we need to preserve these beautiful buildings down here. And when we do that, we can create a really creative community where people will thrive. And so thank you for your vision and what we have here today. Well, there's a lot of folks here, but I'm only singling you out. So just take the credit, Wei-Ming, just take the credit. I do want to thank Councilmember Tolbert, who joined me in this effort and really I think has had an incredible vision for what we need to do to continue to propel the creation and the growth of jobs in the city of St. Paul. This isn't solely, when we do well in the creation of jobs in the innovation economy, that is great for the city of St. Paul, but it's really great for Minneapolis, it's great for this whole region. And when we do think about it regionally, we can compete against any other region in the country, but certainly St. Paul has to be a strong part of that. Several years ago, when we started talking about what it was that we needed specifically to do, we started to see some of the successes in downtown. It was either right around, or right after, or right before the light rail line opened. CHS Field was coming in. We were starting to see the resurgence of the vitality in downtown with festivals in Mears Park, like the Jazz Festival, the new restaurants and bars that were opening up. But we really wanted to say, what strategically do we need to do to make sure that downtown St. Paul is thriving? And so with Greater MSP, with Doug Baker from Ecolab, we put together a vision for what we needed to do in the community. And the vision was really lead with the vitality, lead with opportunities for housing, and really create a plan, because if you do that, you create an environment where others can come in and be successful. And certainly I think that over the last few years in the city of St. Paul, we have had this incredible resurgence in vibrancy. We've had an uptick in housing, and as a result of it, we're starting to see an uptick in jobs. But the innovative economies that start here at COCO, that start here across the city of St. Paul, are really the future for our community. It is clearly where the jobs are going to be driven from, and where all of you that by networking and getting to know each other, I think can really spur job growth in the city of St. Paul. It's not easy. We're kind of shy people, as Garrison Keillor would say. Introverted Minnesotan is a person, or an extroverted Minnesotan is a person who looks at the other person's shoes. And we need to stop being so damn Minnesotan about this. And we need to start bragging about what we have here. And we need to start talking to other people about what it's like to do business and work in the city of St. Paul. And the fact of the matter is, this whole kind of culture that we have here that has been going on for a long, long time. It didn't start, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. I remember when I was on the city council in the late 90s and we had the cyber village concept that ran slam up against the .com bubble. But the fact of the matter, there were a lot of folks that had been down here in the Lowertown community in particular working very, very hard. And so we need to understand what we have here. We need to understand who our partners are. We need to understand very specifically, and I think that this is the point of the Innovation Cabinet, is we really need to understand what it is that we need to do to make it even stronger, to grow faster, and to really propel the creation of jobs and businesses in this community. Folks, as was mentioned, Scott Burns, just such an incredible kind of a spiritual leader of this effort, really understanding what we need to do. I don't know if Scott is here, but I want to thank him. But most importantly, I want to thank all of you. The members of the cabinet are just representatives of all of you. I'm very, very grateful that they're willing to sit down and have these conversations with us, but without all of you in this room to tap into, to present ideas to bounce ideas off of, it simply wouldn't be possible for us to do what we need to do. So thank you all for being here. I want to thank Jonathan for leading this effort from the City of St. Paul standpoint. Let's keep networking. And let's keep on growing jobs in the innovation economy in the City of St. Paul.
And next we're going to hear from Councilmember Chris Tolbert, who's been a great leader along with the mayor in getting this off the ground.
Thank you, Jonathan, and thank you everybody for coming here today. I'll be brief because we actually are here to listen to you. This part of the reason that we started getting into this is because we know that jobs and careers and a diverse economy is what makes St. Paul and the region a fantastic place to live, and it's allowed us to succeed for decades and centuries. St. Paul specifically has a rich history in innovation. American Resource Corporation was founded right here in St. Paul, one of the most important technological companies probably in the history of the United States. I'm going to point out to Nick Roseth has that Minnesota documentary, tech documentary, is a fantastic video. Anyone who doesn't understand the history or the current culture of tech in Minnesota should watch that. Even if you do know it, it will get you more excited. We have 3Ms, we have Ecolabs, we have great companies, we have a ton of colleges, a ton of universities, we have a great workforce, we have a great young generation coming up. We have all the things that really come together to make sure that we're competing in the future. But we thought, let's make sure that we're bringing all those things together, that we in the government, with our private partners, with our entrepreneurs, we can't solve everything, but we can help push in the right direction to make sure that that future Ecolab, that future 3M, that person who might be doing something in their computer room to invent the next big thing, that they are fostered and brought forward so that they can succeed here in St. Paul and choose to succeed here in St. Paul. This is a great city to live in. It's a great city to do business in, and we want to make sure that all people know that and all people want to be a part of that. So that's really what it's about. We don't have all the ideas. I guarantee that if we did, we would just pass a resolution and do it. We want your ideas. We want your help. We're in this together. The future of St. Paul and the future of our economy is important. And thank you all for coming. It means that you care about St. Paul, and together we'll be able to succeed in this. So thank you for coming out today.